O God, do not be still, for behold, your enemies make an uproar, and those who hate you have exalted themselves. They make shrewd plans against your people, and conspire together against your treasured ones. They have said, "Come, and let us wipe them out as a nation, that the name of Israel be remembered no more."
Hello and welcome to In the Gap, where we bring you the truth from a biblical perspective from Israel, about Israel and the world. The verses we just heard from Psalm 83 show us that the anti-Jewish and anti-Israeli agenda that has existed throughout history had already been prophesied and existed since the time of King David.
But it really went way back then to Pharaoh.
Right.
When they just really have done whatever they could to take every Hebrew boy and kill him. It went on to the tribes when they were commanded to come here and conquer this land, the land of promise and trouble and wars. And then, what was then? Assyria. And then Babylon. And then Medo-Persia, Iran of today, and then the Greek, and then the Romans, and then the Crusaders, and the Inquisitions, and the pogroms, all the way to Germany. I mean, the love of God, it's an amazing thing that almost in every generation, one empire or another is doing their very best to demolish the Jews from the face of the earth. But Israel have a way to feast on those attempts of the Gentiles to destroy the Jews.
That's what they say. They attack us, they want to kill us, we win, let's celebrate, let's eat.
On our last show, beloved of God, we talked about the Jewish Holocaust. We learn of the church misguided belief that they had replaced the Jews, replaced Israel. This belief played a role in the silence of Europe while the Jews were being murdered. But did it really end in 1945? This is a real question we better ask ourselves. Did it really end with the end of World War II? Can we truly say the Jewish Holocaust will never happen again? Stay tuned, beloved, as we separate fact from fiction and continue to learn more truth about Israel, the Christian church, and the Jewish Holocaust. But first, let's get an update on what is going on in Israel today.
Thank you, Jacob and Elisheva, and welcome to Israel Update, your source for Israeli news from a Christian perspective. I'm Sagi Cohen, and here is today's story. For the past several years, Israel has been condemned for building in Judea and Samaria, which we would like to point out is a fulfillment of ancient biblical prophecy. Now it seems the UN has once again shown its bias towards Israel, as Arabs living in Israel have begun receiving donations from the European Union and have begun to illegally build on undisputed Israeli territories, in effect, stealing Jewish lands with international backing. In other news, Arabic Muslim attacks on Jews in Israel continue. Recently, a Palestinian police officer injured 3 Jews in an unprovoked attack. Shockingly, world media outlets continues to vilify innocent Israelis with reports like the one you see before you. This slander and outright hatred towards the Jewish people is part of an ongoing satanic attack on the chosen nation of God. In Psalm 80, verse 6, it is written, "You make us an object of contention to our neighbors, and our enemies laugh among themselves." Please continue to pray for the peace of Jerusalem and the nation of Israel. Back to you, Jacob and Elisheva.
Thank you, Sagi. Okay, so let's review our last show for those of you who missed it. And we invite you, beloved, to watch last week's episode and all our TV programs on our website, trumpetofsalvation.org. And don't you forget that Trumpet of Salvation is a mission designated by God. The most infamous genocide of recent history, the Jewish Holocaust, it was the final part of the plan performed by the German Nazis in their attempt to destroy the entire Jewish race. They systematically killed over 6 million Jews, which was about half of the entire Jewish population of the world at that time. Their methods were brutal and cruel and consisted of forced labor camps, gas chambers, and many other horrible methods of extermination. Before the beginning of the Holocaust, there were telltale signs, but clear, really clear signs, that if they had been heeded, would have alerted the world, the entire world, and the Jewish people to the upcoming danger.
Right. In the years leading up to 1939,
Right.
there was a clear anti-Jewish mood in Europe, and especially in Germany. Cartoons were published depicting Jews as a cancer or some other evil creature trying to take over the world, and there were boycotts of Jewish businesses. Jews that had lived in Europe for hundreds of years tried their best to assimilate, and they did assimilate themselves into the general population and adopt the local customs, but they were still harassed and humiliated on the streets of Europe. So we know today these were signs that led directly to the segregation of Jews in ghettos and the eventual systematic murdering of them. But did this hatred of the Jews end there? Did the world really learn its lesson?
If we look at the world today, I mean, this is so true what you just said. And if we look at the world of today, we can unfortunately, beloved of God, see that antisemitism has not ended. But in fact, with the help of modern communication, it has now spread far and wide all over the world. The hatred toward the Jews, God's chosen nation, has reached people that know nothing about Israel, have never been to Israel. People have never been here and already have judged this nation and their mind because such propaganda is going against Israel throughout the world. And they really couldn't even locate Israel on a map. As we heard earlier in Psalms 83, God has enemies. The first and foremost of those enemies is Satan. Satan will do all that he can to wipe out the nation of Israel because he knows that it is vital. Israel is literally vital in God's master plan. There will be no salvation. There will be no kingdom coming on earth apart from Israel, whom God chose to be the channel to bless the world and to bring kingdom on earth. And we can see how Satan dominates throughout the world today and has caused the rise of a new version of antisemitism, including international campaigns to boycott Israel and the unilateral support of the nation of Palestine.
We must clarify that.
Wait a minute, nation of Palestine. Is there any Palestine? What am I saying?
Right.
I mean, how do I say that? I mean, what nation? There is no nation of Palestine. There never been Palestine. Never had no king, never had any coin, never had a flag. All of a sudden, they designed a flag some years ago, and there is a nation? What am I doing talking like that, Jacob?
But that's their secret. The Arabs really know how to repeat a lie often enough that it's so stuck in your mind, you even say it.
And now the whole world believes that there is Palestine. Coming out of It all started with Mr. Yasser Arafat.
Right.
That crafty man really knew how to go about it. But, okay.
Right.
Sorry, I had to say that.
Yeah. It's very important to me that we clarify here that there's a big difference between misguided Muslim Arabs and their unholy religion with its hatred toward God and the Jewish nation of Israel. We hate the sin. We hate sin with passion, but we do love the sinner. And we believe that they too will find Yeshua as the Messiah. While we love all mankind as our Lord does, we must fight these lies created by Satan to undermine all of God's work in the world. We as true believers must be alert and rise up against this new antisemitism and show our support for the nation of God, for Israel.
Very true, Elisheva. So true. We want to discuss further how Satan continues today to fight God and his chosen people. But before that, let us take a short break, and please don't go anywhere. We will be right back with the hope that you will be, as always, encouraged, blessed, and realize the work of trumpet of salvation in Israel. We'll be right back.
Since we don't have the right, he pleads before the God who judges hearts of men. Our mediator served the sentence for our sin. There is only one God. There is only one mediator standing between God and man. Through the price that he has paid, he gave his life to purchase freedom from the fall. Our mediator was the ransom for us all. Come on! There is only one God. There is only one mediator standing between God and man. He's the only way to salvation. The man Jesus Christ, who gave us his life.
Did what I spoke to you in the beginning, that the Lord...
The man Jesus Christ, our last sacrifice. The eternal Son, Messiah has come. The true Son of Man, the atonement Lamb. There is only one God. There is only one mediator standing between God and man. He's the only way, the only way. There is only one God. There is only one mediator standing between God and man. He's the only way to salvation.
I sure hope you've been really encouraged, blessed, challenged with what God is doing. Again, thanks to you people who are partnering with us, who are involved with us. Love and pray for this work of trumpet of salvation, a mission designated by God for such an hour as this. For the time has come to approach Israel with the gospel of the kingdom. And yes, before the break, we saw how Satan influenced the church before and during the Holocaust. How he manipulated. This is what Satan really know how to do, manipulate people. And he did manipulate people to look the other way while God-chosen people were being systematically destroyed. It's unbelievable that the church can do that. It's unbelievable that people can say we love God, we really, our heart is for God, and turn a blind eyes when people are being taken to the slaughter.
But they really believed that Israel is the enemy of God. They killed their Messiah. That's what they believed. It was so deep in them that
they believed that they deserve it. They believed that Israel deserved it and that the church have replaced Israel and Israel deserved every killing and every evil because we crucified Jesus. So can we see the same satanic work in action in the world today? Can we?
let's compare what happened back then with what is happening now. Firstly, in the years leading up to the Jewish Holocaust of the 20th century, there was a financial meltdown and many people lost their jobs, their homes, and ultimately their faith and hope. Since the early years of the 21st century, there has been an international financial meltdown that some consider to be even worse than the 1929 disaster, the Black Thursday. In our lifetime, we are seeing whole countries in financial downfall, and the worldwide debt is higher than it has ever been.
So financial breakdown, it happened then and it is happening now again. Check.
And next, in the early
Yes.
1930s, a Jew-hating leader rose to power. He was a leader that incited the masses to blame the Jews for all the troubles of their time. In our days, we have several leaders actually in the Muslim and in the Western world that blame the Jewish state of Israel for all, or at least for most, of the problems in the world.
Most, all the problem of the world is upon the Jews. Israel is the cause of all the turmoil and the world troubles. I would say that. I think that's how the world view us. I mean, thanks to the propaganda of the Muslim world, which the world seems to have no discernment and no discernment.
Right. One of the outcomes of this is that over 80% of the resolutions that the UN Human Rights Council has passed are condemning Israel. 80%, imagine.
80%.
Such a little country and so many problems in this world, but 80% of all the resolutions coming out of there, it's against Israel.
So a Jew-hating leader inciting the people against the Jews. Check again.
Right.
Yeah.
Also in the early 1930s, there were countless posters and newspaper images depicting the Jews as evil, blood-sucking monsters, trying to take over the world. Whether it is an octopus or an evil witch-type person killing innocent babies, the Jews were always portrayed as evil and dangerous. In our days, we can see an eerie similarity between the Muslim anti-Israel propaganda and the 1930s anti-Jewish propaganda. Today, the Jews as Israel are being presented again as blood-sucking monsters that are killing innocent babies and trying to take over the world, or at least the Muslim world.
So anti-Jewish propaganda to demonize and dehumanize the Jews. Once again, one more, check.
Right. During the 1930s, the Germans also instituted a boycott of all Jewish businesses and goods. This was done by the Nazi Party to make a clear statement to the citizens of Europe that the Jews were no longer welcomed. Today, the Muslim agenda is gaining favor around the world with such movements as the BDS. Boycotts are once again being focused on Jewish Israeli goods and businesses, and also targeting any non-Jewish businesses working with Jews in Israel.
So, Elisheva, a boycott against Jewish businesses and goods. One more check. Wow, now this is 4 out of 4. This is truly frightening and alarming. How does Satan keep on doing the same things over and over, and the believing world doesn't seem to notice? After the world shouted at us, the Jews in the diaspora, to go home. I mean, they've been really shouting at us. Enough with you Jews, enough, get out of here, go. We went, we came back. We came back after 2,000 years to our land of promise. We came home to the land of our forefathers and the promised land of God, the promised land of Israel. And now, the very existence of our home, the only true home of the Jewish nation, is being questioned by the world. I mean, first they get us out of Europe and tell us, enough is enough with you people here, get out of here. We got out, as they really have forced us to with the Holocaust. We came back to the land of promise. God has done wonders with bringing us back home. And now while we're here, again, they don't want to see us here. Where shall we go?
Right. In the past, all these actions have led to the segregation of Jews in ghettos and later the genocide of half of the Jewish people in the world. It is amazing to notice that when the Holocaust occurred, there were 14 million Jews in the world. Do you know how many Jews are there today in the world, Jacob?
No, I don't. How many are there?
Again, 14 million.
14 million. Wow. So 70 years after our darkest hour, we the Jews once again are flourishing. It's amazing. God is doing that. And He's really prospering us in our land after taking away so many Jews during the Holocaust. He's now bringing us back home, restoring us back to the same number, 14 millions. And today, like before the Holocaust, there are again 14 million Jews in the world. Could it be that Satan will once again try to destroy us?
It is truly horrifying to consider that the world will once again stand idle by as Satan works his evil plan. This time he uses Islam instead of secularism and Palestinians instead of Germans. The names may be different, but the underlying demonic forces are the very same.
This resurfacing of antisemitism does not need to happen. Because the nations of the world continue to turn away from God and His Word, the power of evil will continue to grow stronger. And if the nations of the world would realize their role, stop persecuting the Jews, and bringing Yeshua back to His people, then and only then will there truly be peace on earth. And the kingdom of heaven, beloved of God, will finally rain down on us to bring us into His grace, to bring us into peace, to bring us into the way in which God created the human race to be, loving one another, caring for each other, and living in harmony. Father, I pray in the name of Yeshua, our Lord and Savior and King to come, that you, O Lord, will move upon the church, the saints, those who are born of your Spirit, Lord, not only to realize the hour, not only to come to that point of realization, but coming to a great conviction by the power of thy Holy Spirit that faith requires doing. Satan and all the demonic forces believe and tremble. I pray that you will raise up, Father, even here through this program, even here through our dear beloved brothers and sisters, those saints that will really rise up and say, we're not only going to realize, we're not only going to understand, but we're going to do something. We're going to really help to bring the gospel back to the Jews and the Arabs in Israel at this hour of history. We want to thank you right from here, Tel Aviv, Israel, for your love, for your prayer, for your care, for your partnership. And again, we couldn't do and impact Israel as we have for so many years without you. We just need more of you. God blessing and shalom, shalom.
Shalom. See you next week.
What about the holy kiss? Shalom, shalom, right from here. Tel Aviv, Israel. And stand in the gap with us, please.